Welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by Kashiyama the Smart Tailor. They got me this awesome suit, and we're going to dive right into some news around the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone wanted the Cowboys to sign somebody, and they did. Gerald McCoy, who many of us wanted when he was cut by the Buccaneers before last season, well, he has agreed to a 3-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the exact details in terms of how this contract is structured, the overall guarantees, the exact per year, that's not known yet. However, it is expected to come in around $20 million total. Folks, that is less than $7 million per year. I'll let you guys in on a secret. That's really great value, especially as we'll see later on here in a little bit, what other players were getting. Now, before you freak out, McCoy is 300 pounds. Therefore, yes, he does fit the Fatties Only 2020 campaign. And McCoy is aging. He's not the same guy he was in his prime. He doesn't quite have that same burst that he did when it was, frankly, among the best in the NFL. But even so, look at what McCoy's done. 34 tackles, 7 sacks, 5 tackles for loss back in 2016. The sacks have remained pretty darn consistent. Getting, I think, at minimum, 5 sacks and 6 tackles for loss, that's valuable. That is better than what Malik Collins was doing. Now, in 3 years at the end of the Collins deals for the Raiders and the McCoy deal for the Cowboys, maybe Collins is a better player. But in the short term, I think McCoy's an upgrade. So here's where the Cowboys currently sit on the defensive line. This is where they're at right now with some other pending free agents, those who aren't already gone. You have DeMarcus Lawrence. You have Gerald McCoy now. He's going to be your 3 technique. And you see the guy behind him, Tristan Hill. Adding Gerald McCoy does buy you some time for Tristan Hill. Means you don't have to throw him out there right away, which quite frankly might have been a little bit dangerous for the Cowboys defensive line. They still need help. Don't get me wrong on that. But this is a good first step for the Cowboys when it comes to that defensive line. So grade the signing of Gerald McCoy for me. A, B, C, D, or F. We still have some details to figure out, but for me, this is pretty clear. This is at worst a B signing. I like this a lot, so I will make this the pinned comment of the video. Scroll on down there if you get with an ad break on YouTube and cast your votes right there. Part of the reason I like this signing for the Cowboys is you have to compare it to other ones out there. Jordan Phillips, 3 years, 30. Vernon Butler's $215. Okay, he's not that great. They also signed Quentin Jefferson to a similar deal. Even Amada got more, way more than what Gerald McCoy ended up getting. Jaron Reed got a significant amount of money, $223 from the Seahawks. Michael Brockers got 10. Gerald McCoy getting 10 was going to be, I think, the maximum of his range of his value in the end. The Cowboys got him for less than 7. I consider that to be really good value for the Cowboys and even for Gerald McCoy. Now, the Cowboys also have made some re-signings despite losing a variety of players. Amari Cooper is back. You guys all know that one by now. LP, the GOAT long snapper, he's back for basically the vet minimum. Sean Lee, we mentioned that signing in a video not too long ago, yesterday I should say. 1 year, $4.5 million. Darian Thompson comes back as depth at special teams and at safety, 2 years, $2.8 million. And Blake Jarwin, a very friendly team contract structure here, 4 years, $22 million. To be the tight end 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Gerald McCoy helps you out at that 3 technique, that more pass rushing focused defensive tackle. You still need a big boy on the interior. You need a run stopper. Great news for the Cowboys. There are several of them still out there. Damon Harrison, Mike Pennell, Linval Joseph, Andrew Billings, A'Shawn Robinson. All of those guys are still available to be signed by the Cowboys. So McCoy is part 1 of what I think and hope is going to be a revamping of the defensive line on the interior for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. Now, we'll talk about Clowney and Emmanuel Sanders here in a second, but I do want to tell you guys about this awesome suit that I'm wearing from Kashiyama the Smart Tailor. Free fittings right now, and you can get hooked up doing that for their modern tailor line. And it's exactly that, folks. It's modern. It makes it a lot easier for you professionals out there. These are high-performance fabrics. What I mean by that, it's not the stuffy cotton blend. No. It's going to breathe a lot easier for you. In fact, you can actually throw it in your washing machine. Crazy. You can do that with a suit, right? No more spending a whole bunch of money to get it dry cleaned. It also have wrinkle-resistant fabrics, meaning it's not going to get all crimply and have to spend hours ironing it every time you try and want to bust it out. And oh, by the way, these suits start at $300. So if you want to get in on this, call or even just text Kashiyama at 214-448-9037. That is 214-448-9037. Don't worry, I'll put that phone number in the comments in the description as well. So we had the news on Gerald McCoy. Now let's talk about some rumors out there in terms of free agency. I like this one. This one's fun. Emmanuel Sanders to the Cowboys. I'll give it 2 stars. Now, I had originally approached this more of, hey, I love Emmanuel Sanders. I've made that clear multiple times on various shows. I kind of figured he was going to be more of a potential Amari Cooper replacement. But Cooper's back. Randall Cobb's gone. He got a significant chunk of change from the Houston Texans. Jane Slater reports there is interest, mutual interest, between Sanders and the Dallas Cowboys. Also make note, Sanders went to SMU. He's kind of from the area. Seems noteworthy, or at least worth mentioning in terms of a potential fit there. Now, Emmanuel Sanders would not be a Randall Cobb replacement. No. Emmanuel Sanders would be a Randall Cobb upgrade. Sanders, he'd probably be your slot receiver, but he can play outside and inside. Now, his age, I think, will reduce his value. We just let it happen with Gerald McCoy on the most recent Cowboys signing. But look at what Sanders has done. And he's done this across a variety of teams, Denver and San Francisco, with a variety of quarterbacks who, frankly, weren't that good. Or at least not at the same caliber as Dak Prescott is. Maybe the end of Peyton Manning's tenure was still pretty damn good there. So if Sanders can come in, all of a sudden, this offense is dangerous. And you still need to find a slot receiver. You have Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup. Those are your 1-2. If you can get Sanders in to play that slot role, that's fun. I mean, that is an offense that's going to be able to score points. Plus, you can unleash Blake Jarwin instead of using old Jason Witten in there. The potential of why this might not work out. A, I do want to score all the points, just so we're clear. So I am in favor of this. But there is a big but. The but is, well, what's the contract look like? I would love to get Emmanuel Sanders. But if the Cowboys weren't going to pay, I don't think it was 7 or 8 for Randall Cobb, I'm not convinced they would have even paid that much for Emmanuel Sanders. So let me know what you guys want. Do you want to sign Emmanuel Sanders? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If I can get him for 6, if I can get him for a little bit less than that, even, or maybe if it's even 7, I think that's a really fun idea for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm typing in my Y for yes. Now, before you freak out and go, wait, Tom, how can they sign all these players? Guys, cap space is fluid. It is malleable. Before the Gerald McCoy deal, we were looking at around $26 million. I'm not sure what his cap hit's going to be for this year. Maybe it ends up being 6. Maybe it ends up being more like 5 even, or 4 potentially. But you got to save $7 million or so for draft picks. So we'll be overly cautious, and let's say it's around 15. It's around $15 million for Emmanuel Sanders or for Gerald McCoy in terms of the cap hit. So you got $15 million left to play with. Here's the thing, though, guys, and that includes taking away 7 for draft picks. I can easily get an extra $20 million. All I got to do, I got to extend Dak Prescott, get his cap hit down significantly, because when I extend him, I'll be able to do that, just like you're able to get Amari Cooper, $20 million per year at $12 million this season. And you know what? I can cut Tyrone Crawford to save 8 if I need to. I can restructure other players like Tank Lawrence, get 5. I can cut Chris Jones to get 1.4. I can get money. Now, I can't get every player out there, but to get Sanders and more help on the defensive line, I can make that work if I'm the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we know a lot of you guys subscribed, over 50K of you. Thank you all so much. You know what's crazy, though? Not even a quarter of you guys have your notifications actually turned on properly. You might have personalized notifications turned on, but that means you're going to miss some videos. So go double check for me. Make sure it's not off in terms of that notification bell or on personalized. Make sure it's on all. That way, you won't miss a single video we do right here on the Cowboys Report. Let's talk now about Jadeveon Clowney. Is he going to come to the Cowboys? Just the 1 star. I would like to bring him in. Again, I can make it work if I want to from a money perspective. I just don't know if this really goes along with the Cowboys' established MO. And frankly, I think the price tag is an issue here. Now, Joe Thomas thinks the Cowboys will land him. It's a fun idea. It has some semblance of sense behind it. But the Cowboys are not interested at what Clowney was asking for. And Clowney, asking for more money than DeMarcus Lawrence. He wanted to be a top 2 highest paid edge rusher. He wanted more than Tank's contract. Now, that market for Clowney has not materialized. It has not. And I don't think he's going to get DeMarcus Lawrence money. Now, could he get Frank Clark money? Could he get $20 million still per year? Yeah, that's possible. A team like the Giants still might throw a whole bunch of money at him. But for those of you who value sacks as the only metric for production, you don't want to pay Clowney then, because he did not have a good year this year. He was banged up. He's never been a double-digit sack guy. Now, he's great against the run, just like DeMarcus Lawrence is. Generates a lot of pressure. He's going to hit 10 sacks at some point. Frankly, probably will be next year. But the issue for Clowney is, why would you want to throw a whole bunch of money around at 2 different defensive ends? You got to juggle that in terms of balancing a roster. That is the issue. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but I do want to remind you guys, in case you weren't paying attention earlier, today's show brought to you by Kashiyama. You can get a free custom fitting by calling or texting 214-448-9037. Some fantastic suits that start at $300. They are of a much better quality than the other, major chains out there, and they start at even the same prices. It's calling or texting 214-448-9037, and I promise you, I think it's in the comments and very early on in the description of this video. But back to Clowney. I love the player, right? But can I justify spending, let's just say it's even $17, $18 million on a defensive end when they didn't want to pay Quinn, I don't think even 14 or 15, and then still have some pretty major needs that's now going to be a little bit tougher to fill. So I love the idea of Clowney in a bubble. It's not Madden. I'm not convinced he's the right fit. I'm not going to rule it out. If his price drops enough, yeah, I think there's some interest there. I'm just not convinced it's going to. So instead, some other free agent edge rushers out there. Now, some of these guys have been cut, like Cameron Wake and Floyd and Devin Kennard. Some are other big price free agents like Dante Fowler. Everson Griffin is the one I want to monitor. He opted out of his player option. I think he wants to go back to Minnesota, but I'm at least calling. Of the 5 here, by the way, maybe keep an eye out for Leonard Floyd. The Cowboys liked him in that same draft class of Zeke Elliott and Jalen Ramsey. So we know that Quinn is gone, and I would love to get Clowney. I just think it's going to be a little bit out of the Cowboys' preferred price range. So who do you want to add to replace Robert Quinn? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Now, I would bet that at least a couple of you threw in this name, Randy Gregory. Is he going to return? This is still a process. This is not set in stone, but I am going to give it 3 stars. I do think the path is here for Gregory to return to the Dallas Cowboys, who, I remind everybody, owns his rights. He told Patrick Walker he hasn't applied yet. He plans to, and this time he's going to be back for good. Now, I do not want to guarantee anything with Randy Gregory. We've learned our lessons, right? That's just unrealistic. Here's what Gregory said to Patrick Walker, friend of the show, on his return. I will be back this year. Difference is, I'll be back for good this time. If you can get 2018 Randy Gregory, man, that replaces Robert Quinn in a big-time way. Maybe not fully, but you get 80% of it for 20% of the cost. That math works out really good right there because Gregory's under contract and cheap next year. But for the Cowboys, banking only on Randy Gregory could blow up in your face. What if he's not the same guy? He's been away from football a lot. That's a big concern. So you're not going to know for sure on Randy, I don't think, maybe till June. So if you're the Cowboys, yeah, you can maybe use an option here in terms of keeping Gregory on your roster, but you have to also build out the rest of the defensive line. If you go, you know what, we got Randy Gregory, we don't need another edge rusher, that could really blow up in your face. So I would like him back on the Cowboys. I think it's a good idea, but also you cannot assume that he takes care of your issues because, oh, guess what happens when you start assuming things, guys? Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.